the biggest bomb ever unleashed on the world.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. I wake up like you do every single day with adult responsibilities. I want to make sure that I take care of my family, the people who work with me, that I don't unnecessarily hurt them or damage any future possibilities for everybody around me, because I'm an adult man and I have responsibilities. Not so for the insufferable girl boss feminist, encapsulated by the apex predator of narcissism, Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler recently filmed herself giggling maniacally like a serial killer when she saw her own name in an empty screening of Snow White. You'd think somebody in her position would be ashamed and humiliated at the box office bomb, nuclear waste that she produced, but no, instead we get this, and I'm warning you to turn your volume down right now. You're not going to like this. Is that what she sounds like? Why would you post this? In what universe do you think that, I see four quick things wrong with this. One, why are you cheering for your own name? Do you not understand your rep? Two, why do you look like this? You look like a serial killer. And three, don't you understand the movie theater's empty because of you? The reason you can squeal like this, and is literally squealing for herself, is because everyone hates you. This isn't something to smile about, but there has been a absolute legendary run of L's for Rachel Zegler, and this just happens to be another on the long pile of L's. Nothing's worse than that sound. Oh, man. Okay, so there comes a time when the insufferable narcissism breaks people, right? When the selfishness, which is of course, the apex personality style of the narcissist, the selfishness begins to grate on just about everyone. And then they snap. You see, making a movie is a very complicated process. Rachel Zegler doesn't understand this because, well, she doesn't understand anything about the real world. Rachel Zegler, who's been plucked from total privilege and pampered her entire life, who doesn't get how things actually, she just believes that everybody's going to line up and see her, as she says, because she's priceless art in the Louvre, is what she compares herself to, the winged victory. Doesn't understand that failure is actually very painful. Failure looks like this. Failure looks like empty movie theaters all around the world. The reason they're empty is that everybody hates her. The reason everyone hates her is because she couldn't keep her yapper shut. And this movie that could have made $1 billion is now going to lose hundreds of millions. And that's going to cost some people lots of money. And those people are now finally snapping. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, the son of the producer of Snow White. Let's zoom out here for just a moment. The producer of Snow White's name is Mark Platt. The way that movies get made in Hollywood is a studio greenlights a script, then they go out and they get money. They don't spend their own money on it. Most studios are like in debt or bankrupt. They go get someone else to fund it, whether it's a sultan or whether it's a dictator somewhere or whether it's Mark Platt. Mark Platt funded Snow White. Now, I'm going to get to Mark Platt in just a second and his Nepo baby son here, Jonah Platt, who, are no heroes in all this. But there is definitely an evil villain that is more evil than most, and that is Rachel Zegler, and she broke the left-wing activists, Mark Platt and Jonah Platt, his Nepo baby kid, and they finally have turned on Rachel Zegler, which is quite a statement, because both these guys are Democrat activists, big-time Hollywood studio guys. They have no reason to turn on Rachel Zegler except for her behavior cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. And so to see this kind of a civil war in the Hollywood studio system is really something. Remember, these guys only make their money back if the movie does well. The producers make their money back if the movie earns capital inside of the box office. And this movie is not going to come close to paying for itself. It is possibly the largest box office bomb in the history of Hollywood. So the people who produce it are effed. Jonah Platt, again, the son of the producer, is responding to a note about an article in Variety that says that his father, producer Mark Platt, flew to New York to speak directly with Rachel Zegler. An Instagram user called out Mark Platt's reported cross-country face-to-face with Zegler creepy as hell and prompted Jonah to defend his father. Your dad flew to New York City to reprimand a young actress. Any words on this? Because it's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech, no? Shame on your father. So here we go. This is the comment that is breaking the internet right now. You really want to do this? Yeah. My dad, the producer of this enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie, for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid to do so publicly for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on the movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. That is an absolute and total flamethrower. Jonah Platt and I would agree on very little. I've checked his social media pages. He's, very woke. He's a left-wing political activist. He is certainly somebody who comes from the same political shade as Rachel Zegler, and even she broke him, which is really saying something, and his left-wing Democrat family. So this is, and so like really bringing all sides together. That is how repulsive Rachel Zegler is. And I want to make a quick point about how people who work in the movie business make money. The movie has to be successful for anyone to make money. There are tens of thousands, as he says correctly here, people who are in the production line. And many of those people get either bonuses or percentages of the box office. Sometimes actors do films for no upfront money or very little upfront money and take a larger piece of the returns of the box office if they believe the movie's going to be a hit. This incentivizes every actor, actress, person on the film to make the film as big and as successful as possible. If Rachel Zegler had just shut her trap, then you definitely would have made a lot of money. If Disney's magic of PR, even if the film was garbage, and I'm going to speak to this in just a moment, even if the film was woke trash, Disney's such a PR monster that they could have tricked people into buying tickets, that it's like a magical experience for you and your kids. It would have had probably triple, quadruple the opening day in box office. But Rachel Zegler made it so toxic, she actually told Trump supporters, who are the majority of the country, Trump won the popular vote, to not go see her movie. She said she doesn't want our business, and everybody listened. Of course, then she takes the Trump voters off the table. Then she goes after people who liked the original Snow White, constantly dogging on the original and insulting the cast and the writers and the people who created it. The original Snow White, adjusted for inflation, is the single most successful animated movie ever made. It made millions back in the 30s. And so, again, this behavior is correct to be called out. This is now making headlines across the world. Snow White producer Mark Platt's Nepo baby son unleashes an explosive tirade against woke Rachel Zegler. Here's the son. Here's the comment. It's gone around the world. Of course, Snow White had to be shrunk on the poster of her own movie. Gal Gadot, much larger than Snow White on the poster, for a good reason. Snow White producer son unloads on immature Rachel Zegler for anti-Israel comments. Her actions hurt the film. You rarely ever see this. You obviously, in Hollywood, you want to create as positive a vibes as possible to keep in the business. And this is obviously something that you do when you're at your breaking point. Narcissism is nothing to be coddled or encouraged. I see nothing wrong here. Jonah Platt, says Alex Clark. Jonah Platt responded by putting up heart emojis. All right. Saying, okay, definitely not backing down or deleting the comment or whatever. Sounds like he is tripling down. Broadway's Romeo and Juliet did not drop an official trailer that day, garnered 120 million views. Here he is responding effectively to her comment here, and always remember free Palestine. I mean, obviously she's talking about the Disney live action Snow White right here. This is what she's paid to promote. And then she jumps in and says, I don't care where you land on the Israel-Palestine thing. I don't care. It's not America, to be honest with you. So I just don't, my stance on this. I don't like war. But, dude, saying that is clearly a political lightning in a bottle, okay? To say, always remember free Palestine. In the middle of August last year, no, man, not good. Jonah Platt, again, is an activist. You can find his, he's like exactly, what you think, right? Nepo baby, Hollywood producer son. But holy moly, did this ever cook? Disney must pay. We are watching. Son of the Snow White producer slams Rachel Zegler for dragging her personal politics into the film. Hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires. That's true. It doesn't matter really what side of the spectrum you come up on. She clearly hates Donald Trump, hates MAGA, hates Israel, is a member of Hamas, and has done everything in her power to have the movie fail. And it did fail, actually. Look at this, 1.6 on IMDb. It is the biggest, this is Snow White, F you Donald Trump. It's the biggest, yes, I am a nasty bee. Yeah. So Disney, and this is, this is kind of gonna be my take on this. Yep, I'm a nasty, nasty bitch, she says in 2021. Most of the toxicity for Rachel Zegler was already public before her casting. So my message to Mark Platt and his son are, why would you allow this woke adaptation of Snow White to move forward if you had so much money on the line? Like, you're the guys who allowed this woke script to go into production in the first place. You approved of the casting of Rachel Zegler in spite of the fact that she has a long recorded history of being a real sick puppy. You're the problem. I mean, ultimately, you're the problem here, right? She's your employee. You allowed her to get cast. You thought you were making the wokest of the snow wokes. You thought you were you knew what you were doing here. You're now trying to scapegoat. I'm not here to stand. I can't believe I'm standing for Rachel Zegler. I'm not. I'm saying they deserve each other. These producers thought they were being real cute with the destruction of Disney's historic IP, and also, most importantly, with the destruction of the audience's memories of the original Snow White. They were trying to remake this classic in their own pagan, modern audience world image. Rachel Zegler was a glaring and dumb decision, but certainly is just one of thousands of dumb decisions that Mark Platt definitely made as producer. So absolving yourself of any responsibility here is kind of an easy way out. I'll give it to you that Rachel Zegler did you no favors, but ultimately, maybe you should start taking a little more responsibility. Didn't you make the film? Why did you release it? It's kind of your fault, too. So, maybe an apology from the Platts next. Maybe you're in the wrong business. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.